All right, everybody. I'm Andrew Taylor. For those of you who don't know me, we have a special guest, Easton Patton, today, and his wife, Lindsay, and Zach Tordowski, who actually hired them into the business. And we're going to get into how you wrote $105,000 last month, life only, issue paid premium, which is just you're an animal. First, we want to give some updates. We have a training every 2 days. You can follow us on Instagram at Family First Life USA. You can listen to all of these trainings on Spotify and Apple Music. You can follow us on Facebook at Family First Life USA. If you're an agent working with us, you can tag us and we will share your post, which will give you recruits on Instagram, Facebook, any platform. Somebody called me. We shared their post. There's so many people following what we're doing that they called me, said they got 6 recruits. Single mom was like, hey, I got 6 recruits from you guys sharing. That other people saw it, other single moms, and called us. The other thing is June 7th and 8th, if everybody can put this on their calendar, we're doing a training at the LA Dream Center on June 7th all day long. And it seats a lot of people, so we can pack this room. If you're a new agent, you're welcome to go anywhere in the country. But on the 8th, we're doing a shoe drive. So we named this, Factory Fresh came up with the name Kicks for Kids, and we're going to try to raise 10,000 pairs of shoes for the community in Los Angeles for kids.
Wow.
So it's a big goal, so we're going to need your help.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you're going to be able to send those. You can already start sending shoes now. What I'm doing is I'm going on Amazon. I'm ordering a bunch of shoes, and I'm putting the address. Factory Fresh will put it up on the screen right now. The address for the LA Dream Center, you can just ship them there. We'll also put the link to register if you're interested in going. And we're looking forward to helping a bunch of agents with sales and then also doing something good for the community. So we're excited. With that being said, let's get into sales. So can you tell us a little bit about how you started with Family First Life, and let's get to how you started doing $105,000 in 1 month.
Well, awesome, dude. I appreciate you having me on, too. So I got kicked off. April 1st will be my 2-year anniversary. I started full-time April 1st of 19. So I'm just about to hit 2 years. And I'd had 20 or 30 jobs. First full-time job, I was 12, working 70 hours on a farm or whatever. So I was pretty used to all the grind. And then my last job before this was at a corporate rental company.
Nice. And do you feel like that helped you?
I think it did, because they basically, it's your intro to sales, and then you learn the customer service side of things too. So it was a good kind of prep to get into doing my own thing and being an actual independent agent. So it definitely did not hurt me.
And how much did you make, and how much do you make in a job like that?
So I was an assistant manager there for a couple years, and my last year, I was the top 3 assistant managers in our division, and I was 59 gross for the year. That was 59 grand.
And what'd you make last month?
Last month I issue paid 105,000. So with my comp and stuff, I deposited 109.
You deposited 109 grand. What'd you spend on business expenses?
Probably 45.
So and what is that? Leads? What else? Because that's quite a bit.
Yeah, so leads for new guys getting up and running, lots of traveling. So I do 3 or 4 travel trips a month, so I'm gone a lot. So between I think just that and trying to do lead dumps, helping guys get started, because if you have it and they don't and they're willing to work, I'm always willing to take a chance on them. So I think I try to pour in as much as I possibly can. So, probably.
So this is like Monopoly money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's just as you guys know, when you kind of get the ball rolling and you start to kind of figure the sales side of it out, you can go out and pick up 5, 10, 20 grand in 2 or 3 days pretty easy. So then you can give that back and put it back into the business because, ultimately, I don't super want to be in the field running 80 hours a week until I'm 94. So I figured if I can get, the team stuff and show other people how to do it that like they showed me, like Zach and those guys, it'll set them up for a lot better spot too.
Dude, how much did you deposit that 10-day stretch?
It was a little over 53 grand in 10 days.
Almost as much as you made in a whole year, you made in 10 days.
Yeah, yep. And so it was actually a 7-day window, and I looked at it, and it was 53.5 grand they put in from just independent sales, and then we did get our producer bonus last month too, so it kind of timed up to be a big week.
That's awesome, man. Now, how long have you guys been married?
Technically a year. We had our
Nice.
wedding in July though, so a couple months.
Congratulations. You guys
Thanks.
have any dogs or
We do. We have one dog,
nice? What's his, is it a boy or girl?
Archer, the
Archer.
true love of my life.
What kind of dog?
He's a Boston Terrier, Australian cattle dog.
That's what I have. I got 2 little Boston Terriers, and they're like I tell everyone they're like my biological kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, what's it like for you as a wife with a husband running a schedule like that?
I would definitely say at first it was a lot more difficult than it is now.
Why?
So we were both at the same rental car company. I was a manager. He was an assistant manager in a different division.
You were his boss?
You could say
Yes.
that, yeah.
Good work.
I was, but he was in a different division, so his hours were way less than mine. So I was the one leaving the house at 5 or 6. I'm getting home at 8 or 9. So we switched. Now he was the one who was gone all the time, pretty much. So it was definitely an adjustment. When he started, to be honest, I had no clue what he was doing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sell insurance," and I was like, "Okay."
Were you supporting it?
Yeah, definitely. Just because I know he's very calculated, so he wouldn't do something without the research and knowing what he's getting into. But I had no idea. I didn't know what he was selling. I didn't know what he was doing. I just knew he was going to be gone all the time.
Did he tell you that?
Yeah, he did. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to be gone for 90 days. You're not going to see me. but
Because
we're
I'm going to
gonna-"
get this off the ground.
Yeah, he's like, "I need 90 days, and I'm going to figure it out, and then we're going to be fine." And I knew him, obviously, well enough. I married him. So.
Was he actually gone 90 days? Or was it just like he was busy?
I mean, he was, yeah.
Or was he just not there mentally for 90
yeah,
days?
pretty much, yeah.
So he dove into
Head
insurance.
first, yep.
And was he obsessed with it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to be.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything half speed.
Now, did you have any rough patches where you weren't going to get off the ground, or you might have quit, or she was mad at you because you weren't paying the bills, anything like that?
So, yes. So I didn't, I don't want to scare anybody. I didn't make any money for 10 weeks because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was investing so I signed up for 3 credit cards. I started spending $2,400 a week on leads, and was the Facebook realm when that started. So I just started getting 120 new ones a week. So I didn't have any money, so I had to get credit cards to put it on, and I just was kind of running myself into the ground, like 38 to 44 appointments a week, picking up between 900 and 1,500 a week. So I was like really a slow starter when trying to like learn how to actually help somebody. So the first 10 weeks was really, really hard, and she didn't know that it was that bad. I just didn't tell her that I was that horrible at it, because I was like, oh my gosh, what if she finds out I suck so bad? Then she's gonna be wondering why I'm doing this or whatever. So I didn't tell her any of that stuff, like how bad I was doing. So I just was like, it's got to just be a matter of time, because all the people that I was talking to and working with, they didn't seem to have any unique traits or abilities. They're like, dude, it's going to click. You just got to keep working. You just got to keep working. They just kept telling me that. And I was like, well, it could get here anytime soon. It'd be awesome, because this is really hard right now.
Who was telling you that?
Everybody. So I would talk to...
Were you calling other people going, what's going on?
Yeah, I called everybody. So I would talk to Mark, Zach, Josh, Athena, I talked to you. I don't know if you remember that, because I was trying to talk to everybody that I thought could help me, and
I think I do remember that.
It was one of the best things, the best conversation that we could have ever had, probably. So Mark laid it on me pretty heavy when I went through my schedule with him. I was like, dude, I'm running 11 or 12 appointments in a day, and he's like, okay, cool. What time do you get home? And I was like, between 5 and 6 p.m. And he's like, why? I was like, what do you mean why? I double book all my appointments, and then I rush through them, and I do 8 minutes in every house, and I don't sell anything, and then I go home to my wife and pretend like it wasn't bad.
Now, did she say how'd it go?
Yeah, every day. Hey, how's your day? I had no...
And
People
what'd you
think
say
that-
when it was bad? Did you
I was
go,
like, good, still learning. It was fine. Just kind of working on a few things, but like I didn't want her to be more stressed out, because she's like,
still
all right,
learning?
you're gone for 90 days. And
Now,
then,
did you ever get to a point where you were like running out of money?
Yes. I was just trying to make enough of a sale so that I could pay off like $1,000 on my credit card so I could buy another $1,000 of leads. So they started turning off my cards at fuel stations when I would pick up like a water and $20 of gas, and it would decline. So I'd have
Did
to
you
get
tell
the other
her
one out.
this?
No.
Yes.
She didn't know any of that stuff.
He could have been making $10,000 a day or none, and I had no clue.
Yeah, I always told Nicole, don't ask me how my day went. If it was good or bad, just don't even ask.
Yep. So, but when I called and talked to you, so everyone was like pretty nice and gentle with me.
What'd
'cause
I
they
say?
You told me if you can't learn how to put clients first in our business, you need to quit and get a job. So that's my recommendation. And then you hung up the phone.
All right, later.
Dang.
And I was mad at first, but I went back to my house that night. And
That's my goal, to get people mad at first.
Yeah. I was like, I can't believe he said that to me. I'm literally trying as hard as I can. And then I like took a deep breath and, called a couple of people and they were like, well, do you understand it's like a make or break thing? Like you're either going to figure it out and start standing up for yourself and putting the clients first, or you truly do need to get a job. So he was just being honest.
Now, do you think you were putting the clients first?
No, I was so terrified to not like because I wasn't making any money. Where I was like, I've got to get a sale. I've got to get a sale. And I'm trying to explain how insane all these amazing products are and the benefits to them. And I have no idea why I'm even
But
at
it
the
was
house.
always, I've got to get a sale.
Yes.
Walking into the house with, I've got to get a sale.
Yep, I've got to get a sale. So their situation, I didn't care about it when I was new because I was trying to figure out on how to make any money. And so by default, you're going to be horrible if your only focus is on what it's going to do for you when you're in the house. And when I changed that, dude, obviously my life changed in like a 24-hour window.
You remember how we changed that? What you did with the timer? You tell everyone about that?
Yeah, so I have a really bad problem like rushing and hauling through all my appointments and everything. So I started setting a 10-minute physical timer on my phone in my appointments, and I wouldn't start the financial inventory sheet until my 10-minute timer beeped, and I shut my phone off and proceed with the appointment.
And what'd you talk about?
Well, the first time I asked like 2 minutes of questions, and I sat there and just stared at him kind of weird and like kept trying to think of other stuff to ask him. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, who's in charge when you pass away? And then we can start having a conversation. Okay, my kid what does she do for work? Okay, she's a manager at Walmart. Does she have a spouse or kids? Yes. And you can start learning about the impact for a final expense appointment for that person to come up with $10,000 so that you can actually help them. Because I know the situation and the need is so big, then I can just break down this
It's
is
almost
what's
like
going to
if
happen.
you slow down, you can find the need
Yeah.
and just fix their problem.
100%.
Or
Yep.
go too fast and skip over what their problem really is.
Yeah, I heard on a training people don't buy Eagle Premier because it's $68 for 10 grand. That's a weird thing for them to just buy something for no need or reason. So if you can't take time to learn the reason, then you can't help anyone.
Yeah. Now, what products do you write the most?
So I write a ton of Americo and Aetna. Like I've been writing a crazy amount of Aetna since they released the.
Let's talk about Aetna. Tell us about it, because a lot of people are not sure about it. They don't know much about it. Backstory, though, before you talk about it, CVS, which is the fifth. This is what I've heard. I don't know exact numbers, so don't quote me. Hey, that's not exactly right. But CVS, the fifth largest company in the world, buys Aetna, makes a product called CVS Ascendo.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Now, CVS is on every corner. All of us go to, everywhere you go, there's a CVS. It's a very trusting brand. It's where people get their medications from. It's where seniors get their medications from. They bought a product. I'm using this as a recruiting tool, just so you guys know, okay? It pays the same comp on preferred, level, modified, graded, all the different versions of their product. And so most products, they reduce your comp. So I'm selling this as a big selling point for people in the industry that they might get a comp reduction on modified. They might get a comp reduction on graded. Well, you got this crazy product that's priced really good that we could recruit a lot of people with. With that being said, tell us what you know about it, why you're writing it.
Well, it's like one of the easiest apps I've ever been in. So it's super short, it's super quick. Most of the time, they'll just tell you on the spot if they're going to give them the green light and they're going to get approved, which is huge for our clients and it's huge for the agent not to be in like, I hope this one goes through type deal, right? So they're really flexible on a ton of different conditions. Like they'll take for an example, like a COPD at just a standard rate, and they'll give you an answer in the house, and it'll get approved right away. No phone interview.
COPD is a huge one.
Huge, massive issue. That when you're trying to put a carrier and efficiently find an answer. So Aetna's been crazy good for that, and they pay so high, it's crazy. I didn't realize it till I started using them because they were brand new to us. And, all of a sudden I get these massive deposits that I'm like, I didn't write that much. But the comp is so high, it just pays out way higher than you're expecting to, which is huge. So I love them.
And is it true that they don't sign? They don't even have to sign the application?
Yeah, you just basically like turn it and show them like, hey, they're gonna accept to auto sign your electric signature. Is this cool with you guys? Like, and you
Now,
can show
and
them.
you do is it a code word they ask for? A security question?
Yeah, you can set up to do like they'll email them like a security question. They'll open up and be able to read right through and everything. It's sweet.
So you go, instead of signing something, you do a security question.
Yep.
Is there a height and weight chart?
None. No height weight chart whatsoever.
Doesn't matter.
Nope.
You
None.
could get preferred, super. What's the preferred rate like? How good is it?
I think it's the lowest one of any carrier we have. I mean, it's by far the lowest priced preferred rating that we carry.
Now it could be like a one stop. Now I love Americo, so I'm going either Americo or Aetna, right? But it could be a one stop because if they don't qualify for preferred, they could get standard. If they don't qualify for standard, they can get what's the next one?
I think it is called modified.
And is there another one or just modified?
There's a super preferred. So if they have like a Medigap or some other insurance like health-wise through them, they'll get a bigger discount on their life
So
policy.
if they have their Medicare through Aetna, they get a 10% discount on their life policy.
So then it's really the lowest like in the U.S. for a final expense plan. It's insane.
Dude, yeah, this is legit. And you can, not a lot of people do this, and we don't talk about this much, but I want to bring this up. We like to go in the field and meet customers in person. But there's some agents, for some reason, they can't go in the field. Maybe they have something going on in their personal life. They can sell this over the phone with a voice signature. Super easy. So anybody in that world, they can use this product with us. And have we talked about the commission?
Yeah, a little bit. It pays like whatever your commission at, it just matches it. It's max. And you can get a 144 on it when you get to that level and you're selling.
So when you hit the top level, you get a 144. The average agent's probably making, 120 on that product? Mm-hmm. Average?
Yeah.
Dude, what a product.
Yeah.
What else is there? Am I missing anything?
I think that's all the basic stuff. Again, I love it because it's a short and easy app, and I know that every carrier is different, but it's so quick and efficient. And then, like you were saying, they don't have to auto sign. They can put in the security code that you'll find out if most of the time they get approved while you're sitting in there. So it's a killer.
And they go up to age 90 too, is the other thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like everyone you had from 85 to 90, you can go back and write them now. if you
How many
missed it.
people do you have from 85 to 90?
4, and I've just been using it like a month. I have 4 people between 85 and 89.
How much was their premium?
Between $300 and $600 for all of them a month.
Dude.
Yep.
How much coverage?
15, between 10 and 15 grand for most of them.
Dude, the average life expectancy is like 70 something.
78 for men.
And Aetna is giving policies out up to 89
Yeah, at a standard rate, which means they're
with no graded waiting period. Immediate issue, right? Mm-hmm. And then it also goes to 50,000.
Yep. So if you're between 40 and 50 years old, if you've got maybe like a health adjustment and you just want something permanent, you can write up to 50 grand between 40 and 50, which is also the most of any whole life carrier that we have at that age range. So it's good, dude.
That's legit. All right, I want to go back to you having this hard time of selling. What kept you going?
There's a bunch of things. I think like most people that come on here and start, you feel like you have something to prove to the people that don't think you can do it or that it's truly too good to be true. My big picture stuff was, if all these top guys are doing 400 grand, what do I care if I do that? I'm just trying to make 100 grand when I'm new. So if I do a quarter of what the good people are doing, I'm still making 40 grand more than I ever have before. So even if I'm, again, way, way less efficient than a lot of these Hall of Fame guys, who cares? I'm still going to have an increase in pay. So that was like my short term kind of how I looked at the company, when not like like most other people, it's like, do these guys really do 400 grand? Because that's a lot of money. If you're working 70 hours a week and you're making 50 grand a year, it doesn't make sense that you can get an entry level sales position where you can make a couple $100,000 in net profit. It's wild to think about. So for me, there was a lot of, honestly, outside of my wife, I didn't have a bunch of people that were excited or thought that this was the real deal.
Explain that.
So most of the people said, you should just stick to a 9 to 5 because it's safe and you can get a retirement plan. Then you only have to work for 40 years and then you can retire and you'll have your safety net and you'll have your health insurance. What if you have a bad sales month, which I obviously was, so I didn't talk about that. But I think that she was the only one that was like, hey, listen, whatever, I trust you, just go get after it and we'll see what happens. And, you know,
How powerful is that, though?
crazy powerful. I honestly,
Opposed to somebody going, well, you shouldn't do it.
yeah. And I had people that I respected in business that were very successful business owners say, I've had a lot of people transition into life sales and it's a really competitive industry and I highly doubt that it's everything that you've been telling me about. And I was like, well, just look at how the company is structured. I was like, it's got to work.
Now what's everybody saying?
How do I start there?
Same people?
Yes.
I love that.
Yep.
And then you can help change their life. Now, what would you say to somebody, because I think sometimes it's sold as being easier than it is. So a lot of people say it's simple, but it's not easy. What would you tell somebody that's going to get started that maybe was in a position like you were? What could they expect?
This is the best thing that I think Zach gave me when I was kind of getting up and running and he was watching me just like bang my head on the concrete every day. So if you want an opportunity that it's going to make you $400, $500, $600 a year, why would you think that it's going to be the same, you know, kind of ease that you were doing at your last job? Of course it's going to be harder. You're trying to make 10 times as much money. It's not going to be just this, I show up from 9 to 5 and I'm good. And I was like, well, that made sense to me, you know, so I held on to that pretty close where I understood that, you know, I was probably going to have to work quite a bit more and harder or whatever. And really it was the same hours as I've always done. So that part was easy. When you're getting started, again, it's a very simple process. People fill out leads and we go help them with what they already requested. So that part's, you know, mentally that's easy to understand. But there's a ton of psychology and I think mental tenacity that's required to be successful here, where you can't just have a couple of bad days. Dude, if I would have quit 9 weeks and 6 days in, I would be back doing some kind of corporate sales job. Like in 24 hours, it secured my entire life forever. And all I had to do was give it 24 more hours. And so I think that that's something that I would tell new people, like when it gets hard, dude, just give yourself literally 24 more hours. And then when it's hard, 24 more hours. Because that 24 hours that follows could be a 7 to 10K day. All of a sudden you start to paying stuff off and then you get leads again and they're all new and fresh and you have a mix and then you can go do it again, right? So in a 24-hour window, I paid off 2 credit cards and that week I wrote 15 grand, paid everything else off, and then the ball was rolling and I got it. You know, it just clicked and I was good.
Is it weird that when it clicks, it just clicks?
So weird.
Like, we should name that phase for an agent. You start, you struggle, and then at some point it clicks.
Yeah. Dude, I remember, it was weird. I remember when yours clicked too, because we were talking and you were running all these appointments, not selling much. We started doing that. You started doing that thing where you did the timer on your phone and you started to take notes. And tell him about the field notebook you would take out there, because I think people aren't very intentional when they're trying to get better.
Yeah, and I was just as guilty of that as anybody, where I was getting all this great sales training and advice from all these Hall of Fame guys, these massive, you know, board members, etc., and they're trying to help me, and I'm intaking all of it and then letting it just disappear. So I started carrying a notebook with me so that I could physically write down, like, okay, this is a mistake I made. I didn't have structure here. This is some questions I need to start asking. When they say this, I can say this. And I would just write it all out. So I would have like multiple notebooks full of notes for my run days that I could now go back in the evenings, read through, and then just practice repetitions. I could go through that same appointment I just missed in my head with the correct stuff that I should have fixed, and then learn how to, you know, overcome and sell the next one that I ran into that was like that. So that was a huge game changer. My 10-minute timer and writing down actual mistakes and being intentional about training changed everything in a very small
Opposed to
window.
going, this lead sucks.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah, me too.
I get no shit. No one could sell this guy.
Right.
And then there came a time where I said, it's most likely me. Mm-hmm. And I would call somebody and go, hey, what would you have done in this situation? And there was always something you could do better.
Always.
You know? Do you believe anybody could be closed?
I do. Maybe not necessarily by me, but I think anyone that fills out a form and then books an appointment with you to come over can be
closed by somebody.
By someone. Like, does it have to be Matt or Paul sometimes? Maybe. Right? Is it going to be you or me? I don't know. Probably not. But
I don't know, dude. You write like, what'd you write, 750 last year?
700.
Dude,
yeah.
you guys are animals.
In 9 months, by the way. You always lose that
in
part.
9 months.
Yeah.
You guys are animals, dude. Isn't it funny, though, that you did it and then he's doing it?
Yeah.
What'd you do last month? Yeah, last year.
Last year I did like 780, I think, for 2020.
And what, dude? We like if we did 400 when I was in the field, which was a stretch for me. We were killing it. 400K. I don't even know how you guys are doing 100K a month
Yeah, dude.
in life only.
It's crazy. I think everyone's.
How many apps is that?
I mean, his average app is high though. It's probably 3,000 is probably your average annual premium, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is I'm still, which is weird. You'd think I'd be like way better at closing now, and I've gotten obviously significantly better, but I still pick up between 11 and 14 applications a week, and sometimes less. But when I sit, how I'm able to kind of surgically move my way through an appointment and provide way more value is what's changed. So when I have someone that's like a lay down buyer, then I can start finding other reasons or reallocating money that they're using and create these bigger premiums. And so now it's the same amount of closes, but they're just between $200, $300, $400, $500, instead of 40. It's like that's kind of the big stuff that's changed there.
Dude, let's go through that part of your appointment because everyone that watches it goes, okay, that helped me a lot, get bigger premiums. Go through the part where you break down their budget and figure out what they can spend on insurance.
Got it. And I think it's going to obviously vary. So the goal here is not to make stuff too expensive that it's never going to stay. But if you run into a situation where they have a lot of expendable income and then the loss for the survivor is massive, just slow down and relax a little bit. Stop pushing through to get a $150, $70,000 policy and leave when they need more than that, and you can show them how they can use their current money to do it, right? So I'll go through stuff and figure out stuff that they're paying into the house that's extra, or I'll review every policy that I sit down with no matter what. I want to see it. We need to call the company and figure that part out because a lot of people have horrible insurance that they just don't know any better about, or it's a 5-year renewable term, or it's a graded, or whatever it is.
Finding the money.
Yes. All I'm doing is finding money that they're already spending or they're already saving or they're already paying into the house extra.
And reallocating it.
Yep, and just using it to leverage with insurance to have a large tax-free benefit paid to the survivor that it's much more valuable to them. So I'll, again, if they're paying $200 extra on the house, or we do the budget and there's $2,000 left over every month. Like, we're not trying to use all the $2,000, but you can use $400, $500, $600 of that since you're already saving it. You're already setting it aside, and I'm just going to use that to create this large chunk of tax-free benefit for your wife. So now her life is going to be perfect when if you do pass and you use it.
Now, when you started, did you try to sell them stuff you could afford at the time?
Yes, which was nothing. I remember. So, yes. And not
What was your average premium when you started?
I think like 42.
42 a month? Mm-hmm. Now what is it?
It's probably over 200, I would guess.
Over 200
Yeah,
is
it's
the
like
average.
250 when I looked at everyone's. Yours was the highest in our group. It was like 252 a month.
What's yours?
Mine was like $130 a month, $140 a month, probably.
Dude, it makes so much sense, though, to sell the value. Mm-hmm. So that's how you write 100K in a month. Bigger premiums. But you're also helping the person more.
Yeah, and it's just my favorite thing is when they're like, hey, I just don't want it to be too crazy expensive. It's like, neither do I, because I want you to actually have this when you need it. So then you can go through that financial inventory part. So you have to have some kind of why, like, why am I in here? And once you've established that, then you can just pick apart their finances and figure out what's the retirement survivorship for your spouse. Is it 40%? Is it 50? Is it 0? If it's 0 and they're going to lose $6,000 a month, how does this not make financial sense to do? How much money that you're saving do you want to leverage for insurance? Like, what are you guys comfortable with? Because if they can afford $1,000 a month, that doesn't mean they just want to pay $1,000 a month for 20 years. But 500 of that could provide so much value to the spouse that they're super comfortable with that, and it still disappears into their budget.
It makes so much sense, dude. Because it's also like we're gonna use the insurance company's money to leverage something to give your wife. It's like you're on their team, and the insurance companies,
Which you are.
and yeah, you are.
Dude.
But most people make it like they're trying to sell someone something, and it's like you versus the client. But then he's on the same side as the client, using the insurance company's
And
money.
it is smart to use the insurance company's money.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm getting more insurance. It's like, why not use their money when I die, opposed to my own money, and spend my own money?
Right.
So spend my own money while I'm alive and use their money when I die for nothing. I mean, it costs nothing.
Yeah. Andrew, so in like Colorado, we had less instant internet leads come in recently, right? But Easton started really working the 1 month ones a lot. And the other weekend, how many did you buy? You spent $600 on them.
How about 151 months?
And you sold over the weekend 27 grand?
Yep.
Why don't we run through that real quick for everyone? Because I think people see them and they're like, oh, they're a little bit older. and they get scared of them. But just talk about how you thought about it and how you worked them and how you wrote that much premium off them. I think it would help a lot of people out.
Yeah, I went back to my day one stuff where it was $2,400 to get 100 brand new leads for a week. So now that you have these, they're 1 month old, you can get 150 of them for $4 a piece. So you're what, $600 in, and now you have 150 shots to try to close somebody. If the average premium's 11, 12, 1,300 on them, anybody can be
3,000.
That's right.
Average. Yes, thank you. So in my brain, I thought, well, if I can close 1 out of 150, which I think anybody can do, even when I was bad closing 40 or 50 a month, because I was brand new, my premiums were smaller, and maybe you have to do 2, 3, 4 of them out of 150. Your percentage and the math of it still makes so much sense to do. But people do get confused about like, well, how did you, do that or whatever. I had to dial from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 p.m. to book 15 of those. And I use the burner program, so with that thing running all day, that's like 900 to 1,000 dials that it'll do for you versus the 400 or 500 that you can manually do in a day. So again, creating leverage, dude. I'm leveraging a program that's much more efficient than me, and now I can dial 12 hours a day, but do 900 to 1,000 dials and just let it rip all day. And then I get my 15 appointments, and what do I have to sell? Again, 1 out of 15, for the weekend to be good. I just happen to run into some pretty unique situations.
Now you're known, from what Zach told me, like you just focus on dialing it, and that's all that there is to do, and you crush your appointments and usually get done early, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I like to have 15 appointments done by like 9:30 in the morning. If I have a pretty solid schedule and a good lead mix, I don't know why it couldn't be done by 10. But I'm always willing to dial till it's done.
Dude, so you can be done by 10 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you could be a retired golfer on your dial days.
Yeah, go play from 11 to 7, get like 40 holes in.
And that's just because from intense focus.
Lots of repetitions.
And planning. And you must be insanely good.
I've gotten a lot better, but I also listened to a ton of trainings from the people that were already good at it. So like you have Dom and Zach and Schmidt and these guys that are calculated on the phone.
What time do you start on the phone?
7:30. 7:30 a.m. non-negotiable. I have to start at 7:30. Like if I have a travel trip and my flight's at 10 or 10:30, like I'll just go to the airport and get there at 6:30 and I'll start dialing at 7:30 out of the airport so that I can maximize and protect my dial time till I have to get on the flight. Small stuff like that where you make adjustments so that you can get every minute of dial time in, because that's literally where 100% of your money is made. They say it's 80% of the business, but if you can't book any appointments, it's 100% of your business. You know what I mean? So you have to be laser focused on that. I spent so much time listening to dial trainings because I knew how important it was, and I was so bad at closing, I knew I had to get extra shots anyway. So why not just book 38 to 44 appointments, dial all day, and be very conscientious about that time, and then go run like crazy and make adjustments when you're out there.
Yeah. It's kind of like fitness. Like you could work out, but if you don't eat good, it don't matter.
Right.
Here, you can't run appointments if you don't dial good. You know?
Be the best closer in the world, but if you have one appointment, you're not gonna make any money, right?
Not gonna make 10 grand a week off one appointment.
Yeah. Dude, that's legit. So what do you do at 10 when you book your 20 appointments?
So then it's just going back to the agency stuff. I'm like kind of learning how to hire and everything now. So I'm trying to plug into, different manager training stuff that Sean's talking about all the time, reaching out to high level managers like, you and Grady and Zach. And, it's obviously I'm super blessed to have someone like that I can just drive an hour and a half to get around.
Do you share this stuff on Facebook?
Yeah. Yep. I'm sharing.
Can you start sharing it in our Facebook group? Mm-hmm. Like book 20 appointments by 10 a.m.?
Yeah, I can.
Or all this stuff. Average premium. Dude, I'm big on, that's going to help a lot of people, you sharing that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and anybody can, people get confused. It's like maybe they think somebody's got some special ability. Steve just worked, dude. Everybody wants to, how did Steve do this, and how did he write so much? He ran 40 appointments a week, and he is a precision machine in the home. Everything he does is non-negotiable inside the house, where he's always in control. So the only difference between people that you see like Steve and Rob and Zach and yourself as a new agent is just time. That's literally all it is. They either put in more time or they train more.
Yeah, but time can be manipulated here because time is experience in the home. Mm-hmm. So you can have tons of time. You can do the same in 1 year as you can do in 10 years. This guy goes, I've been in business for 30 years. I go, dude, I've probably been in the business for 100 years based off of how many appointments I've ran compared to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, absolutely. So let's go back to the phones for a second, if that's cool. Give people like 3 tips for the phone. Because I think like we're talking about it, like how many dials you should expect to make a day, how you overcome a couple of objections, and anything else you think that would help people out that are brand new or not killing it on the phones yet.
Big stuff on the phone is control and posture. I think you've got to have that. It's got to be non-negotiable when you're on the phone. You're not calling them to get all of their health information and talk to them for 15 minutes. It's like I'm calling to confirm, date of birth, address, smoker, whatever information that they put on the form, and figure out when's the latest you've ever been home from work or what time your doctor's appointments are so I can understand your schedule and set an appointment that you're going to be at. A big new agent mistake, too, a lot, is you set 40 appointments a week and you sit with 4 or 5, which is what I was doing for a long time. And I was like, I have no idea how I'm possibly setting so much and no one's ever there. I was like, well, I just heard that person say they're not sure if they're going to be home or not. They might be. And then you wrote them down in your calendar, which is weird because they just told you that. I mean, that's like a most likely they're not going to be home thing. So little adjustments like that on the phone I think is big. So again, it's not this, you got to watch your pitch. You're not sounding crazy excited. Like I need them to understand that, dude, I have to dial again today. Like, hey, you filled this thing out or whatever, and you got this as your age, and like I'm going to be there tomorrow and stuff. So I got 15 people, 2 and 3 good, or what time you guys done working? And it's like super relaxed, and that hey, I have to keep calling you. I'm sorry. As a new agent, you've got to be making 400 or 500 dials in a day. I know there's like a 250 minimum rule, but if your schedule's not full, like why are you stopping? Especially when you know that that's the stuff that matters most. It's just like skipping your last appointment because you're tired at 8 o'clock at night. It's like, dude, you're going to just throw $3,000 down the toilet because you didn't want to work one more hour? That's really weird. So little stuff like that. Sorry not to get off the phone stuff, but.
No.
Legit.
Yeah.
What do you guys do for fun? Like, let's say you take a day off. You kill it. You write 100K. Do you do anything or you just hang out with Archer?
Yeah, hang out. I mean, we don't really hang out because he's so busy and he's always gone right now traveling and hang out with Archer.
But you are home
occasionally.
Okay. Now, how many days are you home running 100K, writing 100K a month?
So right now I have, a bunch of different territories that I fly out to every month. So 3 out of 4 weekends that are on a 4-week month, I'm gone. And then if it's a 5-week month, I'll travel 4 out of 5 on the weekends. And so I'll do where I leave Thursday, dial for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If that's as many leads as I have in that area, then I'll come home, Monday morning and finish dialing. If I hit my production goal over the 3 days where I'm like at 15 or 20 grand or whatever it is, then I don't need to be back in the field the rest of the week. I need to start working how to hire more and learn more about the business side.
So what's motivating you though? Like what are some of your goals?
So I think
or are you just competitive?
I am super competitive. I grew up in a very competitive family, so I kind of like was born around a lot of really like high level athlete family members. Like all of my cousins were national high school wrestling champions. One of my cousins could throw like a strike from the back of center field 92 miles an hour, so he had a cannon on him. My other cousin was like a power lifter dude. I mean, he was massive. So, I kind of grew up around 5 cousins that were just outstanding athletes, like Olympic level wrestling athletes. So I've been around that stuff forever, so naturally that just rubs off on you when you're young. They're like 10 years older than me or whatever, so being around that stuff was super helpful. And then from the
You think it's all linked? Like how to be successful in all those different areas?
like growing up around stuff like that?
No, like being an elite athlete, being good here. You think it's all the same mentality?
Oh, 100% is. You have to have some kind of drive and motivation to win. That's what creates the big long-term success. Not that you have to have this killer mentality in everything. Like, Sean's is non-negotiable to win every minute of every day, every year. And not everyone's built like that. But certainly you want to be the best. The deal that my father made with me when I was really young, he said, I literally don't care what you do, but whatever thing that you pick out and you find, you will be the absolute best that you can be at it, whatever it is.
How old were you when he told you that?
I was like 4 or 5. I was really small.
Did he tell you multiple times or just one?
It was like every year. Every single year we'd have the same conversation. Because I was like, I don't know if I want to keep wrestling. I don't really like it that much. He's like, well, that's not negotiable. You have to do that. But anything else you want to do, you can do, but you have to try.
So wrestling family.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he said, whatever you decide to do, you're going to be the best.
Said, whatever it is, I just need you to be your absolute best that you can possibly be at it. And that was like day one rule from my dad. And so that obviously it helps when I get into this stuff and I start seeing 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 grand from these guys. And I'm like, man, I can do that. It's just going to take me a little time, but I can do it. And I'm going to work however hard it takes to get to that level. And now it's like watching all of you guys building these huge teams and having the success that you're having. Most of it comes back to my big motivation is to take care of my direct family, my future family, Lindsay's family, my brother, my parents. Like, I just want to be able to get everything squared for like both sides of my family and make sure everybody's taken care of forever. And like, that's a huge reason on why I think it's worth pushing now. Dude, it's like 3, 4, 5 years of your life where you have to do this. And then you can set
And you're 2 in?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So I figure, like, let's say it takes me another 7 years, right? Like, everything goes wrong and it takes me 7 years to get where I want to be as a team. Dude, it's 10 years of my life to create generational wealth and take care of my family. Like, that's such a small window of time where people will work 30, 40, 50 years to retire on $2,000 a month and not be able to do anything. So I don't want to have that, and I have an opportunity to do it.
It's kind of fun, too, and rewarding, right?
It's super fun, and I'm just kind of getting into the small stage of being able to like give back a little bit. That's by far the most enjoyable part of what we do. Just like small stuff like the Dream Center, like, hey, I can't maybe give $50,000 on my own, but I can make other small donations to help. And being able to be in a situation like that, or be like, hey, the server is talking to us about it's her first day back in 6 months of working. Like, you can tip her $200, $300, $400, $500, and it's not that big of a deal anymore because I put in the work on the back end, and I'm in a spot now that I can do it. So now I can share the opportunity, help her out a little bit, and say, I used to serve. Like, I used to work in a restaurant.
What restaurant?
Applebee's.
Nice.
Yeah. I was grinding in Applebee's too, dude. Double shifts till 11, 12 at night.
Yeah, someone told me this. Patrice Thompson came in here a few weeks ago. Hilarious interview. Like, she said she was working. She got her insurance license and decided to quit to drive Uber. And she was driving 2 hours to LA to drive Uber. And she said she was working like 17-hour days and sleeping in her car and showering in 24-hour fitness and then getting up to do it and making like $400 a day. And she's like, what if I work this hard in insurance? So she came back, started working this hard in insurance, and ended up doing like $50,000 in a month or some crazy number.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Well, dude, I love what you're doing, man. But one thing that I want to point out is, like, what are you going to do when you retire?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know that I would ever, retire. Like, I like to do this. This is what I want to do for a long time. Obviously I'm not going to be in the field till I'm 70 or whatever, but if I can help as many people as I possibly can go from where I was at to where I'm starting to get now and then where you guys are, like, I want to do that forever. It's a super, not hands off, but it's not something that you have to do 15 hours a day, driving all over the place or whatever and making $200 your first couple of weeks. But I just want to do this stuff for as long as I possibly can because I love it.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm like, dude, I still love what we do. No matter how much money's involved, I still love helping agents, building agencies, the whole thing. Listening to you, just raising the bar. Now I know how you do $100K in a month. You need an average app count of 3,000 AP.
That's right.
Well, dude, thank you for coming in, man. You guys are awesome. And real quick, actually, before we wrap up, how'd you recruit him?
He filled out a ZipRecruiter.
What did ZipRecruiter say?
It said you can make $400,000 selling.
What were you looking for on ZipRecruiter?
Any sales job whatsoever.
You're looking for sales jobs.
I just wanted to, because I wanted to get out of management. I was like, I don't want to work with anybody. I'm tired of managing. I want to work by myself, be left alone, sell a lot, and do whatever I want. Like, I don't want to be bossed around. I don't want to have to manage people.
Did you want to run your own schedule?
I did. Yeah, I wanted to control all aspects of what I was doing, and I mean, 2 years in, I have complete control of what I want to do, like, I choose to run the schedule that I run now because I'm trying to get to where you guys are at. You know what I mean? So, but I'm the one that schedules all that stuff. Like, I'm in complete control of how my schedule looks, which is crazy because I never thought that I'd be in a spot where I could do that.
Were you looking for commission only?
I wasn't.
You weren't.
I didn't understand how commission only worked. It's just, hey, it's super risky to have a commission job, so I don't know if that's something that I want to do. But I watched after I applied at FFL, I watched it for a year and 3 months before I started here. I watched everybody have success, and then I finally.
You did.
I
Wait
watched.
a second. You recruited them. You watched for a year and 3 months before you got started.
2018 in January is when I found the company, and I kept seeing 400,000, and I watched all Sean's videos, and I was like, I can do this. And then I got promoted, and I stayed for another year and 3 months.
And then what was so bad where you had enough to go, I'm out?
It was a mutual decision between the company and I. They gave me a opportunity to explore other career opportunities.
Nice. Well, we won't get into that.
It's a good way of putting it.
All right, man. Well, thank you for sharing. I think you're going to help a lot of people. You guys are awesome. And thanks for coming in today.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us, dude.